Shannon. Yeah, messing about with the computer.
Come on then.
Big baby.
You want to play, don't you? You want to play. Oh, look. See, look, they've been good laying down nice and still. Not like you.
They've already been working hard this morning. What was I trying to do? I was trying to find a file. That's what I was trying to do.
Oh, it's cheeky. Okay.
Right, why won't you open? I've got a PDF file I want to open and it won't open with. Open with what? Aha. Hello. Yes. Let's have a look. I'm not sure I got 1 minute.
Nothing.
Okay, found it. Don't need it, as it turns out. Where is everybody?
I don't know. It's not that early either, is it? It's not
No.
like it's a 9 o'clock.
Let's go look at Messenger and see if there's any messages.
I didn't see any before I logged on. There was just one saying thank you for the link.
Okay. All right. Nothing on Messenger. What about WhatsApp? No, there's nothing on there. Uh-oh, we've got someone else. There you go.
Woohoo!
No.
Getting too big for a laptop. Oh.
There's a window over there. There's a window, isn't there? Get a good view. I'm having to stop her legs from slipping on the desk.
Oh, bless her.
Where's my maybe? Come on then. You jump out. No. You jump out. No, she says I can't. I'm too old for that malarkey. So who is meant to be here? Let's just have a look. Ba-ba-ba. And it was Pepsi that was asking, wasn't it, about where the link was. So I was expecting Pepsi to be here. I don't know whether to start or not. Tell you what we'll do in the meantime. Do you want to let me know how you're getting on? If you've got any problems or specific things that you want to try and cover. So if I just, anybody got something, any questions, any issues, any problems that you want me to talk about today that we can come up with any solutions for, or you still got the most perfect dogs in the whole wide world?
Definitely not perfect. You're not perfect, are you? Hey? Far from perfect. But she's, on the whole, you're good, aren't you? On the whole, you're good. You're a bit woofy. A bit woofy. But,
what do you woof at?
Everything. Everything. You woof at birds in the garden, you woof at people walking past. She's almost become a cat. We've got a bay window in our lounge, and she'll lay on the back of the sofa and watch for people going past and woof at them. So I've sort of done what you said and walked out the room and just ignored her. And that will quiet her down after a while, but she'll still do it.
Yeah.
I guess it's just a long-term thing, just keeping it up over and over again.
Chewing hands too.
Yeah, you still like chewing hands. Luckily, it's only me that she does it to, which it probably says more bad things about me than about her. You went through a very mouthy stage as a puppy, but with everybody else, she stopped.
Okay. And Angie, how are you? You've got a perfect dog?
No, definitely not. No, he's not. Generally, he's not too bad. He started reacting, becoming barky in the house to noises outside. He'll just be laid asleep and then he'll hear something that we don't hear on the front, a car go past, somebody walk past, and he just get up and start getting barky himself. We did have an incident at daycare the other day where, bless him, he got a little bit humpy and with another dog. Poor Dawn had her hands full with him. He just wouldn't listen to anything. He was in that mode where his hormones are just going a bit crazy, and we ended up picking him up and bringing him home because it was too much for him and it wasn't fair on the other dogs. And he was, I think poor Dawn was spending more time trying to stop him doing what he was doing. Then he'd get overprotective if this dog that he liked the perfume of was playing with any other dogs. And I can't say we've really noticed it when we've been out. He hasn't, when he's been out and he's seen other dogs, he's not getting humpy or doing anything like that. But obviously we're in full teen mode. Hormones are just, from one day to the next, it's completely different. And she did say that his scent marking over the past few weeks has increased at daycare and stuff. And I've noticed that on walks a lot as well. So yeah, it's a case of monitoring him at the minute, because I'm not ready to have him done just yet, but he's 9 months old. We'll see how we get on a bit longer.
All right, Abo. So it gives me some ideas if I just mute you. So on the subject of hormones, first of all, I think at this age, I would say the boys are harder work than the girls with regards to those behaviours. Their recall tends to mess up quicker. Their sort of reactivity and frustration levels definitely go up, you know. So one of the reasons I think you might be seeing the alert barking is also related to the hormones and the changes related to adolescence. FYI, my Dodo got banned from daycare at about the same age for all of the same behaviours, for, you know, guarding dogs that he wanted, marking everywhere, and basically not being able to think at all because his brain was so gone. And as much as I wanted to keep him entire until he was fully grown, he did actually end up getting castrated at 11 months because Dawn basically put a foot down and said, I'm not going to take care of your dog at all if he doesn't get done. You know, he's not coming into daycare. And I didn't think it was fair on him. And even after that, it takes a few weeks to settle down once you do decide to take the hormones away. So, but for everybody, I'm sure you've seen my discussions and shares regarding when to neuter. So I don't think there's a standard response. It has to be what you can live with, what you can cope with, whether or not you think you can keep them safe. I definitely wouldn't ever want to think of myself as responsible for unwanted puppies or puppies who might not get into good homes or might automatically be rescue puppies from being born. So yeah, that's always something that weighs very heavily on my mind. So if you've got an entire boy, absolutely on lead all of the time, long line. Alert barking. What we have to think about there, so it's alert barking, is in other words, I hear a noise, I need to tell the pack. This is actually the main reason we brought these guys into our homes in the first place, you know, so that they could tell us if there were unknown intruders around who were starting to steal our flock or trying to get in and steal our whatever. And the only difference now is that in our society as it stands, it's no longer appropriate, you know, it doesn't fit. But we actually selected dogs for thousands of years to be really good alert barkers. So you have to kind of try and think about it from the point of view of, instead of getting frustrated or angry, what I want you to think about here is to say thank you to the dog for guarding you from all of those perceived dangers, for letting you know that there is something that they feel is different in the environment. You know, at some point, God forbid, but at some point in the future, it might save your life, you know? And so I don't ever get angry with my dogs for barking. What I do is I will do a fake look, a fake interest. So my dogs, they play a game and they're doing it to each other. So what they do is they pretend that there's something in the back garden. Because if they pretend there's something in the back garden, the other dogs will all run to the back door to go and check. And while they're all running to the back door, the one who did the fake alarm bark gets onto the sofa or picks up the toy that they wanted. Yeah? So what I don't do when they alert bark is I don't immediately jump up and show an interest. What I do is I look at them. So you look and you're saying, have you heard something? And the dog will either go, yeah, I think I did, but you don't seem that excited about it. And none of the other dogs have joined in. So maybe it's okay. All right. So if you think about it from our point of view, if you hear a strange noise inside the house or inside the building, you are going to alert to it. you are going to sit up and think, what was that noise? And you're going to listen for a bit. And your attention's going to be on that, whatever it is, trying to get more information about it. And that's the equivalent of the dog going, woof, what's that? Yeah? If we join in at that point where they're still going, it's a bit like somebody saying to you, did you hear that? Now your brain's gone to the next level of alert, hasn't it? Because not only did you hear it, they heard it too. All right? And if we join in, if we at that first alert level where they've just heard something and they're worrying about it and they've got to tell the rest of us that there's a noise that they heard, if we go, yes, I heard it too, by joining in. So what we need to do instead is look at them and, you know, appreciate the fact that they think they've heard something, look at them and pretend that you're trying to see if there's something to be interested in, and then look at them again and then settle back to whatever you were doing. All right? And my dogs, who used to always fall for Dodo's alert bark when he wanted them to get off the sofa, are now starting to do that to him. So he will alert bark and they'll go, no, Willow, don't sofa. And sometimes Twiggy will still fall for it. Sometimes you can see her go, really? And she's looking out the patio doors, really? And she'll stretch like this. And you can see him kind of, he gives it away actually. I think because he won't run all the way to the patio doors if he's planning on getting on the sofa. So he'll give an alert bark, but he won't go to the doors. And I think she's figured it out. So we need to not join in. Yeah? If it really is something there, like somebody's knocked on the door or there is a reason for them to be actually getting excited, what we do is we go over and we have a proper look. So in my scenario with my living room, I would go all the way to the patio doors and make a real big deal out of checking the whole garden. And then I'll look at the dog and I'll go and I'll continue doing whatever I was doing. Yeah? So we say, I am interested, I want to pay attention to what you're doing, but I don't find that interesting enough. So if it's been a cat or something in the garden, I've looked and I've said with my body language, it's really not that exciting, all right? If they continue to bark, I might do something and I've already checked and it's nothing exciting, it's not actually somebody at the door, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to dismiss them. So I'm going to tell them to go and lay down or you know, I'm going to give them something else to do. So we're going to talk about how to dismiss your dog when you're not interested in what they're trying to tell you or they're trying to ask for. Yeah? All right. Any questions about that bit so far? No? Does it sound like it makes sense to what's going on? I mean, your dog, especially at this time in their lives, remembering that they're forgetting things, that things feel like they're new, their body's changing, so they feel like the whole world has changed because internally they've changed. Yeah, so everything becomes scary again. And we've got to be really careful that we don't make it feel even scarier by agreeing with them. But we do need to say, well, I've had a look, you know, it's kind of, it's very calm. You don't rush over there to look. You just walk over and go, oh, yeah, no, not that bothered really. Yeah, thanks for letting me know, but it's only a squirrel. All right. So the other one then, we'll come back to that one, which is teaching you how to teach them to go away when you don't want to listen to what they're doing. Talked about that one. So playing with hands. Did you see the video I just recently shared on Facebook? So I've got a video of me playing hand to hand with Dodo, okay? And there's going to be a lot of books around telling you mustn't play rough with your dogs, but at the same time, up-to-date studies indicate that the best way to form a social connection between you and the dog is through play. Yeah? And yes, you can do that with toys, but you've always got these with you. Yeah? So you can use them to interact in any situation, in every situation. What we need to do though is obviously we need to have specific rules, because our hands, in comparison to teeth, even with small dogs, our hands are very easy to damage, and we have to make it really easy for the dog to understand. So we're going to have a little look at how to communicate, play. Emma, oh, she's in. We're going to have a quick look at how to indicate that play is continuing and how to indicate that play needs to stop right now. Okay, so Emma was just trying to get in and she seems to have disappeared. Don't know what to do. Nothing I can do, I don't think. It must be her internet connection. I did press on admit. Let's just double check. No, she's in. Oh, it looks like she's in. But we can't see her, so it must be her internet connection. Okay, so how does your dog know when play is available? Well, let's just put that on there. Can you see me all right? You can. So if you think about when dogs are communicating play to each other, they have specific signals that say, I am playing. And their specific signals are movement and bowing and side jumping and side movements into each other. Yeah? So we're like this. Move, move, move. And their way of telling each other that the play has stopped is stillness, taking movement away, yeah, closing your body language, becoming very still, yeah. So we can copy those to a degree. Obviously we don't have dog bodies, but we can give similar information to our dogs, that when I'm moving, little grabby touches, turning away, let invitations so they can feel that they can come into that rather than you constantly going over them. Invite. So little touch, move away. Invite them in so they can play. When they start to get overexcited, then we suddenly change from that to this. Yeah? We stand up, we take ourselves away, we close our body in, we go stiff. We make it really clear. There's a big difference between the two. So I don't know, because mine are really sleepy. I've got a sneaking suspicion they're not even going to join in. But we'll see. Oh. I don't seem to have lost you on my main screen. Press something. I don't know what I pressed. So, one of my signals that I'm going to play, taking these things off because I don't want them scratching off my face, and they're expensive. And I'm going to get down, and I'm sideways on, so I'm not threatening. And I'm going to invite them in with my body language, and then I'm going to do little grabs and little touches. And Twiggy, remembering where she came from, she doesn't really like hand to hand. So did you see her body language went, no? She kind of closed her body language and she kind of went, no, just touch me. Yeah, so she wants touching right now, but right now she's not really in the mood for grabbing. So we'll just ask her again, if I grab you like this and I touch you like this, will you get excited? And she's keeping herself still. She's not gone fluid and bouncy. She's kind of giving me the calm down. She's telling me let's not. Does that make sense? Whereas maybe loves a bit of the rough stuff, don't you? So if you do little touchy grabs on May, you're in the way. Because nobody can see. You go that way. You go that way. Go on out. Go on out, because it's too, the room's not big enough for it. Just for a second. So if I do little grabby touches on May, can you see that she starts to open her mouth? She's the wrong colour. Come on and put it on here. She's the wrong colour. And what she's doing now is her body's tending to go still. And I know why. She's old, she's arthritic, and I've just asked her to play on the surface that she's going to slip on. So she's toned me down. Whereas you can't see her so well when she's on the bed. So I'm a bit stuck. What I actually needed to do this dodo was a dodo for my demo. But Dodo's gone off for the morning with Dawn, because she needed him. But what we'll get you to do is we'll get you to invite play, so I can just see how you're doing it, and we'll have a look and see what your dog's response is. So who's in a good position or can get into a good position? We'll do you one at a time and then I can have a look. All right, so let's go Sarah first. And Angie, I saw you playing as well. Can we just have a look at what happens when you do your invite? And she says, I'm not sure. That's fine. All right. So what I want you to do is put your head down, lower. So you know the play bow, when they're bowing to each other, push your hands forward and bow down and put your bum up a little bit. And she says, and it might just be not at the minute, yeah? She says, oh, I'm thinking about it. And if you swing your bum into it and you've got, now, so that is sort of a play bow from her in response to yours, but it was also a little bit of a not convinced play bow, yeah? All right? So now you're in. Play bow, invite her into your space. So dodge away from her, let her choose to come into you. Okay, and if she goes still, give her space, because what she's doing is she's checking, are you going to listen? If I ask you to calm down, are you going to calm down? Does that make sense? So we're giving the dog a way of telling us that it's too much, that they need us to chill out. And actually it becomes a communication, which is the best part of a relationship. Yeah? So invite her, make silly noises. You make it really obvious. This is play, and this is the difference when I'm not doing this. She's knocked the phone over. All right? So play bows, invitations into your space. seen something or heard something. Yeah, she's busy. Don't worry, she's got stuff going on. You're on mute, so I can't hear you. So all right, don't worry. So what happens then if we teach our dogs that we sometimes like to play this way, and we make the cues that that kind of play is available really clear, and we look for them saying yes or no, and them showing us that they want to slow things down or calm things down. What we can help them to do is learn to control themselves more emotionally. So we get them all wound up and excited, and when they start to get overexcited, then we go, oh no, okay, yeah. But we can also pretend that we're getting overexcited so that they give us calming signals. And then we respond to those signals by saying, oh, okay, fair enough. Now we've got a two-way communication. So when Maybe was a tiny puppy, I didn't know that you could do this. I discovered it by accident. And I realized that what she did, if I continued to try and force the interaction for fun, she would try to calm me down by putting a toy between us. So she would say, oh, I don't like playing with hands. Here, have a toy. And she'd try and force the toy into my hands. All right. So, and she started really using signals to try and tell me, look, let's just chill it out a bit, which, considering the personality type that she is, and she's a really high energy, really drivey kind of dog, I thought that was absolutely amazing that she could then say, well, actually, human, you need to chill out, you know. And she used to swear when she said it. All right. So you need to chill the F out, parent, and calm yourself down. That's emotional control, isn't it? That's her being able to control herself emotionally so that she just doesn't get more and more angry and wound up because I'm being an idiot. And that I really love about hand-to-hand communication in play. All right, so I'm going to encourage you to do it more. When would I not play hand-to-hand with a dog? If you've got a dog whose intensity increases so rapidly that you cannot read it. So if you've got a dog that goes from 0 to 60 in a very, very short period of time, then they're the sorts of dogs I wouldn't play hand to hand with until they'd learn to offer me calm behaviors to initiate play with the toy. Yeah, I want to have that gap where I can read what Emma's in the waiting room again, where I can read what they're saying and be able to fit some behavior changes into the middle. If I've got a dog that's just going to go, oh, we're playing, bang, and bite my arm straight away, then they're not the sort of people that I want to play hand to hand with. Hello, darling. Emma's in. You made it then. Just about, almost. I don't think she can hear us yet. Bless her. All right. So, okay. How do you tell your dog that you're not interested in what they've got to say or what they want to be doing with you? How do you say to your dog without having to get horrible, without having to shout at them? How do you say, not right now, you know? So we want a cue to dismiss, a cue to send them away and have them leave us alone. Yeah? So we're going to talk about that just now. I'm going to do a little demo. So you've got a dog. Let's just put Emma, I'm going to mute Emma so that we're not, yeah. Oops. Here we go. That should be on speaker view. Yes, that's better. All right. Don't worry, Emma, you're muted, but we can see you. Brilliant. All right, so here we have a pile of something that the dogs might want, yeah? And sensible, normal dogs will come over and ask, would you like to share that with me? Yeah, so this is your dinner plate, or normal dogs are going to come over and they're going to say, any chance at all of me having some of that? So here we go, we've got a whole lot of attention. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at them and then I'm going to look away, because actually I'm not interested. I'm going to carry on eating my dog biscuits. Yeah, and they've not gone away, they've not left me alone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at them and I'm going to say, go away. But then I'm going to throw food behind them, away from you. Okay, now what you should see, can you see maybe, is that instead of coming into your space all the way, they're going to hold themselves back a little bit. Yeah, so to begin with your puppies, they might only take half a step back. Yeah, we're going to look at them again. I'm going to say, go away. And throw the food behind yourself, away from yourself. All right, so did you see Twiggy couldn't get any further, or didn't feel that she could get further away, but what she could offer was a down. I didn't ask for a down. I asked for her to go away, but that's all right, because as far as I'm concerned, from where she is, she can't dive on my dinner plate. Yeah? All right, so I'm going to look again. I'm going to see if we can get her to move further away. Go away. Go away. And maybe it's not going to bother. Look, she's staying there now. She says, this is as far away, this diagonal across the room is as far as away as I can possibly get from my owner. All right, so think about it in real life. I use a very stern tone for it, but I use that stern tone right from the very beginning, along with the food reinforcement, so that in the future, when it really is a dinner plate and they really aren't going to get anything, or, you know, I'm talking to somebody and I don't want them to interfere with that person, then I'm going to use that tone of voice, because it's different to how I talk to them normally. So I want it to be a really obvious cue, trained cue, not a nasty thing, but it can sound, it's more of a parental, I imagine it's more of a parental voice, you know. It's not going to work. Whatever you're doing right now is not going to get my attention. I'm not going to join in. Does that make sense? Everybody fairly happy with what they're doing? So I want you to get some food or something. I want you to make sure that your dog sees your body language as dismissal. So you look at them, but then you're going to look away. You're not interested. And then you're going to look at them again and you're going to say, go away. Yeah, like you mean it. And then you're going to throw the food behind them. So it makes them, helps them go away from you. Does that make sense? All right, so let's put you all on gallery view so we can see you all. And if you all have a go at that. Do you know? Yeah, well done. Okay, so one thing that I'm seeing there is some of you are saying go away, but yeah, you're touching the dog or trying to move them away. Yeah, we don't want any of that. We want our body language to say, no, I'm not going to touch you. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm going to turn my back on you. Yeah, I'm not interested. Every time you touch, every time you push, you're kind of inviting the dog to continue that communication. I often think of Super Nanny here. You know, when Super Nanny goes, don't continue the conversation, just show them your hand and walk away. Yeah? You've seen Super Nanny on telly? Yeah? Don't continue that conversation. Go away. And then you take your attention away, you take your hands away, you take everything away. Yeah? And I don't know if you can hear behind. So Twiggy's heard me say the words go away in my stern voice a couple of times. Can you see what she's actually doing? Because although my tone of voice is stern, what they've learned is that when I do say that, it's a good thing a lot of the time. You know, it's not always going to be a good thing because sometimes I won't be able to reinforce them. I won't be able to reward them. But obviously when we're training, we're using reinforcement all of the time. But in real life, eventually, you should be able to say it and your dog should just go, oh, I'm not involved in this particular interaction. Go away. She's going to stand and stare at the back of my head instead. There you go, she's gone. All right, so that's a dismissal cue. You can call it whatever you like. I like go away because it's easy and it's the only time I would ever say it to somebody, you know? So I'm not going to say it by accident in real conversation. So it's a cue for dismissal. When you read up about it, if you look into it, you'll find there's all sorts of different other ways of doing it. So you could use a sign that only comes out when you are not going to give any attention to the dog. So you're giving an environmental cue, a picture, a sign that says nobody's talking to the dog just now. Yeah, so if you're teaching them to be on their own, for example, and you're teaching them the first stages of separation training, you might bring in that visual sign so that nobody in the house talks to the dog. So the dog's learning to be mentally alone without being physically alone. Does that make sense? All right. So you missed a little bit of hand-to-hand play and why that's important and what the benefits and potential drawbacks are. Do you, Emma, do you play with Pepsi hand-to-hand or do you usually have a toy between you? Okay, let's just get you to unmute yourself. Sorry, darling. Lots of getting up, moving around. Well done.
It's good. It's all good.
You've joined us. It's lovely. It's lovely that you've joined us.
I know.
So,
Finally, we were watching you earlier. We could see you, but we just couldn't do the rest. You know what I mean? But anyway, yes. I'm not working for a change today. I'm on nights. So anyway, yeah. I find that we play both ways, but she does do the side to side, like you say. She's very playful. She loves to play. Like she's whimpering now because she wants the treat that Louis is holding in his hand. And she thinks if she says she'll go outside, he'll give her it. Mm-hmm. Julie, I don't know whether you can see this, but you see, she's scratching at the door to be let out. Oh, what have I done? Yeah, to be let out.
oh, you keep breaking up. So I'll just mute you for a bit because you keep breaking up. So with regards to the play then, what we need to do is to be able to switch them off and tell them when we're not playing. And that was the more important part. It's the communication as well. When the dog says to us they're not in the mood, that we're not going to then force them towards having to get upset or angry with us as well. So it's about communication through play. With play being earmarked as one of the absolute best reinforcers for many, many dogs. Now, some dogs, obviously rescue dogs and things, if you get any friends that have those, then they might not have even the slightest inkling about play, and it might be very scary to them, and hand contact might be very scary to them. So if you've got any friends that do already have those kinds of problems, then do not just suggest that they start playing with their dog, because obviously that might all go very wrong. So the next thing we're going to do today, and we've got 15 whole minutes left, is we're going to have another look at recall, because I'm just in the middle of I've paid somebody to teach me more stuff about recall, so I'm going to pass on what I know so far. Okay, so when we're talking about recall, what we need is a sound and an action from us that makes the dog want to get to us straight away. And the problem with some of the methods, and I think also to a degree some of the methods that I've already taught you, the problem with that is we don't have what we need, which is a kind of an instant startle response to the sound. Okay, what do I mean by startle response? I mean, you know that feeling that you get when you hear your mum call your naughty person name when you're little, and your body just goes into instant response. Even when you're a grown-up, even when you haven't actually been told off for many, many years, if you hear somebody say that to you, you still get that feeling. Does that make sense? So we want that instant kind of got no control over it. We want the dog to, when they hear that word, go not in a fearful way, but in a anticipatory way, the whole brain system to be lit up in a need to do something about this sound, need to react to this sound. Yeah, a reflex reaction to that sound. And we've already done part of it in that we've done the classical conditioning, cue equals food. Now what I would say is, if you've already started to see signs with your teenager of cue failure, in other words, you call them and they go la 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 like this, then you need a brand new cue. You need something you've never used before. You need something that you can use in a high-pitched way, yeah, and you're going to start over with that cue. You're not going to use it in real life until we've really got it working super well. So you're going to carry on the way you normally are right now, hopefully using long lines if you're getting cue failures on recall, so you're preventing them from getting it wrong. But you're going to practice this where it's less likely to go wrong. So you're going to practice it in the house and in the garden or on the long line where there's no other distractions, so that your dog's more likely to choose you. And you're just going to start with cue equals food, and the food to begin with is going to go at your feet. It's going to go right down near your feet. So we're going to go, and I've got two dogs competing with each other. So we're going to go, my new cue, which I haven't actually used before, is here. So I've just started this morning. They've already done one demo session, but other than that, these two haven't actually heard it before. So we're going to go here, and the food goes right at the feet. Yeah, so I'll move so you can see. So I'm not moving, or I'm just moving a bit, and I'm going to go randomly so they start to hear the sound rather than looking at the movement. We're just going to randomly go here. Okay, so what I want you to do treats, 10 pieces, so 10 calls. You can be moving around a bit. What I want you to do is call. Sometimes they're looking at you when you call, sometimes they're not looking at you when you call, sometimes you've got your back to them, sometimes you're moving, sometimes you're standing still. So the only thing that stays the same is the sound and the place where the food is going to be, which is right by your feet for this first session, for this first bit. All right, so if you all have a go at that all at the same time, we'll just get you on video. And don't worry about the jumping up, because the food's going on the floor. So don't worry about the jumping up, because it will reduce. We want that excitement. We want that keenness. We don't want to be starting to tell them off at all. Okay. So, Emma, oh. Hi, Emma. So, obviously I can't hear you because everybody's muted at the moment, but can you either thumbs up or let me just see if I'm seeing what I think I'm seeing? Are you telling her off at all or trying to stop her from jumping up? No, okay. And I know that the jumping up's a bit annoying and stuff, but what we don't want to do at this stage is bring any kind of punishment into this. We want the dog super excited whenever they hear that sound. Get to the owner, and we're going to get them even more excited with the next thing that we're going to do. Okay, so this time what I want you to do is, we are going to just make sure that you can see me. Ooh, can move it around a little bit more. Okay, this time what we're going to do is we're going to say the here, and after we've said your recall cue, bring the food down your body to the floor, but roll it away. So the dog comes to your hand, and then the food whips past them. All right, so you say here, and we're going to bring the food to our feet, but we're going to roll it away from us. Here. So they have to skitter away on the floor. Here. So we want them to see it go. I'm not going to ask her to do any more than that because she's arthritic. So I don't want her running on this floor. All right, so for 10 treats, again, you call while they're they've just found that last piece that you've just rolled away. And as they're moving towards you, then you call again, but you make sure they come all the way to that hand, and then you skitter it away again. So call while they've just turned round away from that bit of food. If she don't want to come, if she don't want to play, don't worry. All right? Don't be forcing it. Don't be begging. Don't be begging. Ever. Don't worry. One of the other games might get through to her brain. She might just not want to run on this floor. You know, it might be that the sound of her claws on the floor is putting her off. So they'll have good reasons not to. So don't worry about it. It might just be, I mean, look at Twiggy. Twiggy didn't get up to play that game. Sometimes they're just not in the mood. Okay? Okay, beautiful. Right then. So, next stage. Next stage. What we're going to do this time, first of all, we're going to call, but as they come towards you and they're just about with you, I want you to pretend that you're running away. Get a couple of tiny steps in and then roll the food from your feet away. So not a lot of room in here, but obviously when you're practicing in real life, you have a tiny bit more space. So here's my dog, she's coming in towards me and I'm going to run a little bit and then I'm going to toss it. Yeah, tiny little run. So here we are, she's coming in towards me and I'm going to run a little bit and I'm going to toss it. So we get a little bit of silly energy just before we move the food. Does that make sense? All right, so we'll only do 5 of those, I think, and see whether or not she's keener when you look as if you might be about to run away. And if she's not, don't worry. Hello, monkey. Okay, she says, really, no, you're acting weird, Mummy. You're definitely acting weird today. Some dogs are more sensitive, you know. Some dogs don't like us to change. So, okay, beautiful. All right, so we're going to do a slightly different version of that as well. And what I want you to think about, once we've shown you all of these, you can mix it up. The point is that we are making ourselves more interesting. Because dogs are such body language experts, they will have learned that you get into these boring patterns. You walk the same places, you get your phone out of the same places, you do the same things in the same bits. You know, oh, this is where we start the ball game. What we want to do instead is make ourselves be unpredictable and fun, to get the interactions going between us, to get that surprise reflex response to our behavior. So the dog starts to hear that sound and think, got to do something. All right. So on this occasion, we're not going to move our feet. What we're going to do is we're going to glue our feet still, but we are going to move our bodies. So we can move our weight onto one leg or to the other leg. We're going to dance side to side, and I'm also leaning forward a bit because I might go that way or I might go that way. And you can see the dogs then start to go, what's she going to do? What's she going to do? Getting a lot of focus and interest on us. And then when you've got them like this, you can go and throw it that way. And maybe just hit the door because she was so keen. Yeah? So, dodge and weave. But what I want is food in both hands. So sometimes it's going to go that way. Sometimes it's going to go that way. Sometimes it'll go behind you. Sometimes it'll go in front of you. So they've really got to watch. Does that make sense? So we're getting that excitement. Oh, where's the next bit of food going to go? All right, have a go at that, see if that's any better. So on hard floors, what you might find will make this game much more fun is food that makes a pinging noise as it moves. Food that sort of hits and makes a tapping noise as it moves. She says, really, Mummy? She's not in the mood, is she? Pepsi's in it. She says, I like this game. And quite often the dogs that have an issue with chasing, so chasing wildlife, chasing cats, this game they really enjoy, because this is kind of feeding into that natural behavior for them. Okay, beautiful. Now, mix it up. All of those bits that you've just learned, let's have a montage effect. Let's see if you can get your dog super excited. So recall them when they're moving already towards you at the moment, but sometimes call when they're looking away from you while they're still trying to get the last piece of food. Sometimes run away, sometimes just dodge and weave. So mix it up. Be unpredictable. Sometimes run. Remember, get your calls in because we're practicing that recall sound. Sometimes it's just at your feet. Sometimes it's going to roll away. Poor Sarah's got a dog that's not working. She's broken. Broken dog. Pepsi's well into this game. She says, I do this game. She's never going to lose me again on a walk ever if you play this game. Oh, who's that? What's she doing? Is she joining in? Is Sarah's dog joining in? Is she trying to tell you something else? Does she want something else? All right. Favorite human. Favorite human. Okay. So, anybody got any questions about all of that? Or how do you, just give me some feedback on it. How do you feel about what we've just done? Give me a wave if you want me to take you off mute. You want a wave, okay?
Hey, obviously that didn't work super well for her, but she does come very much to the old command that we taught her to come. So do we stick with that and play the games with that command?
So just mute you for a second. So yes, absolutely. If your original cue is working for you right now and it's not failing, then stick with your original cue. There's nothing to stop you combining your original cue with these games to increase that response. But for most teenagers, if it hasn't already, what you will find is the majority of teenagers will become deaf to their original cue. So test it regularly and see, are you actually maintaining the 80 to 100% response? Are you maintaining a fast response? In other words, they're not just sauntering back to you and kind of, and they're not saying in a minute, I'm just sniffing this, you know, they turn into teenagers. If you're seeing your cue starting to fail, then I would be training your new cue in low distraction environments. Don't try and use your new cue in the high distraction environments until you can see your dog turning themselves inside out to get to join that game. Yeah, until you can see them turn on a dice. So I changed cue on Dodo, as I say, because I'm doing this course. So I started watching it last week, and I did a couple of sessions of practice. And now his cue, which is kind of wishy-washy out in the wild, if I'm frank, you know, there's wildlife and stuff. Inside low distraction environment, he was literally just turning himself inside out to try and turn round the split second that I called. Yeah, so I can see that it's going to work really well as long as I don't allow it to become poisoned by allowing him to practice getting it wrong. So I want it really, really fluent, really strong. I want to see that look on his face every time I say that cue. Must get to the owner, and I want that practice so well everywhere, inside the house, inside the garden, low distraction environments on the lead, before I start then testing it into busier environments. Yeah. All right, any other questions, or fairly happy with that? Yeah, so give us a big thumbs up. Sad to say, this is your last one, isn't it, for this session? Do you want me to unmute you, Emma? Are you all right? You're okay. All right, last session, last number 6. Yeah, so it goes so quick, so quick for me. And obviously, if you miss a few, it can go incredibly quickly for you as well. If you need us, we are still available. You are allowed access, obviously, to the Facebook group, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll feel that there's value in coming back to us in one way or another in the future. And I mean, I love having people back, because then at least I've got this relationship already, and I kind of know your faces and I know your dogs, and I can follow you through. So I'm going to unmute you all and have a little goodbye ceremony. Okay. So we're going to go up here. Get ourselves oh, my little old lady.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Julie,
Oh, hang on.
Julie, can I just ask one quick question? I don't know what's happening, Louis. Can I just ask one quick question, Julie, please?
Yeah.
Pepsi, when we're playing with her sometimes, she gets excited and everything, and she's all playful, but then she starts wanting to sort of like bite your hand and stuff. But it's like she's playing. It's like what she really wants to do. She just wants something to sort of put some pressure on with her jaws, but she doesn't bite. You know, her teeth would never press against you. It's just actually, you know, the gap in the teeth there. She wants to sort of put the soft part of your hand in between there and sort of like, do you know what I mean? But to others who weren't familiar with the dog or anything like that wouldn't know it's just playfulness. They'd think she was trying to bite. Like my dad, because my mum and dad are currently living with us, and my dad is frightened. Yeah. And you can't explain it to my dad because he is just so fearful. But we know she's playing, but we know that she still maybe shouldn't do it. What do we do?
So you've answered your own question, really, haven't you? Remembering that any behaviour that continues is being reinforced. And if we allow her to do it to us, she will quite rightly assume that she can do it to anybody. So what I would say is do play, but have a definite rule for yourself, that if you feel any pressure. So what I want when I'm playing with my dog with my hands, I want them to keep their jaws wide, and I'm happy to do this as long as their jaws are wide, and I'll put my hands inside their mouth and all sorts. But if they start to close their mouth at all, then I'm not playing anymore. Yeah, straight away, instant, game over. Until they calm themselves down. And then I'm to start over, but I'm specifically looking for, if they start to lose it and they start to do things which I don't want them to be repeating anywhere else. And when I'm doing it, I'm quite rough, you know. I've always got scrapes and scratches, and I'm always putting my hands DIYing and working with cats and rabbits and rough dogs at work, and you know, so my hands are quite tough. But when I'm doing these games, I'm trying to imagine how it would feel to somebody with thinner skin or to a child, you know, and I want my rule set to be set to that level. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, so it really is goodbye, I'm afraid, because I've got to dash and go get back to the unit to do another outside one with somebody. So you know where I am if you need me. Just because your classes have ended doesn't mean to say you can't ask questions. And if you want to continue training but you want to try a different trainer, I'll be heartbroken, but I'd rather send you off to somebody that I already know is going to be gentle with your dogs and train you to be gentle with your dogs. So there are at least two or three local trainers that I'd be happy for you to try out, and I can recommend them for you. So don't feel that I don't want you going off looking for your own trainers and finding somebody that's going to teach you to beat up on them and do things that have got no scientific basis. That was me getting stroppy because it's happened to me. All right, but yeah, I know. Can you imagine? It was absolutely heartbreaking. It was several years ago, but I trained this gorgeous, proper squishy Rottweiler puppy, and it was from being tiny. And they stayed with me for weeks and weeks. And then I saw them a year later in the vets coming in, and he had a prong collar on. You know, somebody had put a prong collar on my tiny little cute baby Rottweiler who was just the squishiest, funniest, cutest. And I'd given them the positive training, and they'd been with me long enough to learn how important it was. And he walked in, and this dog's got this, I don't know if you've seen them, but prong collars. You know, it broke my heart, but, you know, anyway. So if you do want to go and try someone else and try, you know, and there's no harm in that, because everybody's methods are slightly different. The method of training is slightly different. Personality types, you might find somebody that matches you better, and that's absolutely fine. But come back to me and see who I would recommend. Yeah. Happy? All right. We'll see you later. Bye.